we have the phenomenal Power Bouncer line. This line is quite simply a bouncing ball with a small Pokemon figure inside. Hey, come on in. Welcome to R&R Collectibles. How can I help you? Shopping for a birthday. Okay, well, what a treat for whoever the lucky someone is. Okay, do you know what you're looking for, or do you want me to kind of show you around? We have everything. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Okay, you want some suggestions? Perfect. That's what I like to do best. I like to show what we have and help guide you on your journey to a excellent gift. Okay. So first off, who are we buying the gift for? A friend. Awesome. You must be a very good friend to go to such lengths for such a really good and unique gift. So very lucky. What kind of gifts is your friend into? What do they like? Well, I guess what I'll ask you is, in a store like this, I think the most important thing that we can actually base our selection on is that nostalgic effect that you get from shopping for vintage items, vintage collectibles such as these. So, rather, might I ask you, what era or moment in time do you think most nostalgic for your friend? Do we have a particular decade that they grew up in? Perhaps one they talk about when you guys reminisce or, look back fondly on the past? Late 90s and early 2000s. Well, my friend, you are in luck. As you can see, quite a few items on the table here are, in fact, from that very era. We have some newer items, of course. We have a wide variety of, different kind of collectibles in our store, but we have a very, very substantial collection from that particular window in time. So I think we can find the absolute perfect gift for your lucky friend. Okay, so late 90s and early 2000s, there were really, really great cartoon shows, video games, a lot of things from that era. Are there any in particular that stand out from what you know about your friend? Okay, they like the popular brands, of course. Okay, what about our Pokemon figures, toys, merchandise, something they're interested in? We have Thai Beanie Babies, of course, from that era. You cannot go wrong with those. We have different Batman figures from anywhere from the animated series all the way up to the films. We have some Dragon Ball Z items and figures. We have drinkware. We have just all different kinds of things, more action-related toys. So, what do you think? Or anything that's not pictured here? Okay, they like Pokemon and Batman. Once again, you're in luck. So, what I think I'll do, we have a huge selection of both. I will take you through several different options for both of those brands and see what you think and see if you like any of them or if I need to go pull something else. How does that sound? All right, just sit tight. I think I have a few pulled here from recent customers. Let's start with Batman first. Okay, so we'll start with something a little... I like when I collect or I make collection suggestions to different customers, I like to maybe think a little outside the box and provide them with a piece that they might not see on their average store shelf, or perhaps if their friends collect similar items, perhaps they themselves have not seen. So let's start with something in that vein. I have this wonderful Batman the Animated Series action figure. What a fine figure we have here. Now, as you can see, we have the wonderful, and we do have just a bit of dust. These, once again, are quite old at this point, but we have a wonderful Man-Bat figure here, and if you can see that, we have a complete in-box Man-Bat action figure from Batman the Animated Series. This is the original run of the figures from that particular show. You can usually tell what the first couple releases of action figures are by the red kind of aesthetic of the boxes. Similar packaging can be noted on this Catwoman version of said series. The animated series came out in that exact window of time that you were referring to, and had really great figures and quite a large selection and different lines as that show progressed through its various 4 seasons. A overall short show, but quite impactful. Some still regard it as some of the best Batman media of all time, and I dare say I have to agree. Man-Bat is a really great play on the Batman theme itself, being a more literal interpretation. This character in the show actually became a hybrid bat species while experimenting with some bat DNA to fix a ailment that that particular character had found himself dealing with. So Man-Bat became a formidable foe. Not, I think, only appearing in 2 episodes throughout the 4 seasons, but this figure, as you can see, has a really large size. If you compare this to other figures, for example, this Robin from the animated series, quite large. So if you want something that really is going to stand out on your shelf, and obviously you can hang this toy. This has come directly off the store shelf and is perfectly ready to display. So if you want something, once again, that's going to kind of pop and stand out in your collection, I think this toy itself may just do the trick. So I'm going to set that to the side here and we'll continue. So like I said, 4 seasons of that show, and the 4th season they actually had a kind of a rebrand and kind of transitioned the show into a new version and form of animation where it had a little bit more sleek of a design, and it had a time jump that featured the original Robin, Dick Grayson, moving on and becoming the very, very popular Nightwing. As you can see, Nightwing with his very standard blue and black Nightwing suit. Absolutely fantastic design. This particular figure was part of the Crime Solver series. This small red, I guess not red in this feature, the Batman version is red. This clear lens here, if you can see that, this actually was used as sort of a spyglass that the user of this action figure could actually scan various different items, and hidden messages would appear to kind of give that true detective feel to any person or child who had this toy. As you can see on the promotional art, this series introduced Tim Drake, the young Robin, and this became known as the New Adventures of Batman and Robin. And this started about halfway through the third season, before the animation actually was updated, but the name itself changed. Some people aren't a fan of the new updated animation from the fourth season as much as they are the original, myself included. But if you need to see that one more time, this Nightwing was one of the absolute best features of that new show, that new season. It comes also with this glider and a nice little firing projectile. So very fun and a little bit of action involved. Now, if the Batman animated series is not quite your cup of tea, I have one more Batman figure that I'll show you that has a little bit of a change of gear, and that is the much maligned at the time but very nostalgic Batman and Robin set. So this set was at the time heavily criticized for its emphasis on merchandise and different figures that could be created out of the show. The movie. The movie featured a very wide array of costume changes and vehicle variety, and it was clear that it was designed with the toys in mind, and the creator has said as much. So while the film itself did not do very well and actually initiated a long Batman reboot that became Batman Begins after a number of years, the toys themselves were actually very popular. And as you can see here on the back, you have a nice example of how many figures, and this is just a portion of the figures that were available at the time, but a large variety of different Batman and Robin figures, as well as the complete Rogues Gallery. Here we have a deluxe, as you can read on the box, Ice Terror Mr. Freeze figure. This has a neat little tank-like vehicle that Mr. Freeze comes with, and that very iconic Mr. Freeze. A very odd choice at the time, but iconic now, and makes quite the interesting figure. So I will set those aside until we are done with our process and let you kind of think those over. So if you are a fan of any of the Batman, either films or anime from that generation, I think you'll find toys in that line very interesting. Now, on to our Pokemon toys. First, I will start with the more small in size but large in enjoyment toys here. As you can see on the table, we have the phenomenal Power Bouncer line. This line is quite simply a bouncing ball with a small Pokemon figure inside. Now, while this figure may not seem as small, what's funny is, due to the kind of clear and magnification effect that the ball creates, it makes the figure appear quite larger than it really is. When you open one of these balls up, it actually only has a figure about this big. So, and don't ask me how I know that. I would hate to tell you that when I was a child, I did just that thing, and I ruined a perfectly good Pikachu Power Bouncer to get that Pikachu toy out, and I was quite disappointed with the size, but nonetheless, quite the experience. On the back, you see the other options that we have in stock. Now, we have a wonderful Squirtle here. It also has other more powerful evolutions like Blastoise, Charizard, and Mewtwo, as you can see in our Funko Pop here. These power bouncers are just a lot of fun, and the Pokemon merchandise at the time had a great, they did a really phenomenal job of advertising these new on the scene hot toys. Pokemon, once again, in the United States, was a new phenomenon and swept the country very, very quickly. So they did a really good job of really pulling together the game aspects, the anime, and the toys by adding things like the creature's name, the Pokédex number, and making you feel like no matter what piece of merchandise you purchased, you were still part of the same universe. Quite phenomenal merchandise and promotional strategy. So that is the Power Bouncer. On the cheaper side, if you are looking for more of a budget-friendly option. Next up, we have something from across the pond, as they say, from the home country of origin, Japan, of Pokemon. We have something in the Japanese native language here. We have the Pocket Monsters Blastoise Master Ball set. Now, what is really nice about these sets is it not only comes with that really, really high quality Blastoise figure, as you can see right here, but it also comes with a nice working Master Ball. Now, when I say working, you are not going to be able to quite literally capture an energy form of Pokemon, but this ball opens and closes like a regular Master Ball would, and has a small switch trigger, if you will, inside the ball that when it comes in contact with a Pokemon, it will trigger a spring-loaded closing mechanism, allowing you, as you can see inside, there is a string attached to the ball itself. So if you hold that string in your hand and you lower that ball or throw that ball at your Pokemon, when that trigger is pressed on the inside of that ball, it will actually snap closed around the Pokemon figure, allowing you that great simulated sensation of capturing a Pokemon, which I think is absolutely great and a really lost art form when it comes to creating these Pokemon type toys. As you can see on the back, it has multiple other advertisements for other Pokemon in the set, and as you can see, it has a nice little display of what I was just explaining with some really great artwork. I think this is a fantastic piece, and I think anyone with it in their collection will not only have a great story to tell about the figure itself, but have a really nice kind of variation of artwork. If you primarily collect the US Hasbro line, I think having a line that once again is created by the company Tommy, I think having a toy out of that line will really make it stand out and give you quite a level of variance in your collection that I think will be quite pleasing to your eye. Now, I saved the best for last in terms for Pokemon toys. This is one of the holy grails of packaged Hasbro items. I say that because they are quite expensive for, Pokemon figures, that is. They don't reach the same price point as the collectible cards, but in figures, they are quite pricey and are just absolutely considered a deluxe item, especially when you bought them in the original retail stores. This was the item that perhaps you saved up for, or you were gifted, just like this instance here. So without further ado, I have the Pokeball Blaster set. Now, just look at that. Not only do we have 3 wonderful figures, we have a Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise. And once again, those Hasbro figures, they are quite hardy. They will stand up to quite a bit of wear, as you can see with these out-of-box loose figures. they still hold up quite well. The paint and coloring really takes quite a bit of time to wear. So these figures were not only really wonderful just to look at and just enjoy having, but they really held up quite nicely over time. We also have nice blaster coins with, on the back side, we have the image of each Pokemon, as well as you can see their name and number. Now, the main attraction is the Game Boy Color modeled toy. Now, as you can see here, this Game Boy Color is a nice purple, and it has a string attached with, once again, a Master Ball. Dare I say, would pair quite nicely with the Blastoise Master Ball toy. Now, you see this gray button where the screen usually would be. This button actually allows you to place the Master Ball in a small slot in the front of the Game Boy. And when you press that button, that ball will actually shoot forward on the string and will knock over the figures. There was actually a small mini game that was created for these toys. That is what your coins are for. As you can see, they have different power levels indicated on them. And by knocking over a certain amount of your figures with the Blaster Ball, you would gain points. This Game Boy actually opens up and has a slot to collect and house all of your coins as well. So quite a lot going on in this toy, and quite a great value for your money. So as you can see, there is a nice kind of explanation and diagram of just that exact game and some other options that we have in stock for the Pokeball Blaster with Battle Disc toy. So once again, I think that toy is quite phenomenal and really hard to beat. So with that said, I have now shown you 3 items for each of the 2 brands that you indicated that your friend might enjoy. Would you like to see more, or would you like to decide on purchasing or passing today on some of the toys that I've already shown you? You've seen a few that caught your eye. Excellent. Now, starting with the Batman, are there any of the figures that you think your friend would enjoy displaying and proudly having in their collection? The Batman and Robin Mr. Freeze. Excellent. Let me grab that really quick for you. I kind of had a feeling that the outside the box nature of this toy, being such a comically maligned movie with really ironically fantastic toys, I thought this might be something that you thought would be worth purchasing. So I will set that here to the side. Okay, I think your friend will be very, very pleased with this. Any of the other Batman figures today? Not today. That is perfectly fine. But you do have interest personally in some of our animated series lines. Well, I can gladly tell you we have many, many more of the in-box animated series from season 1 through 4. If you would like to return another time and have a personal appointment, I can take you through all of those, no problem. Excellent. Okay, I will put you down for briefly in the future, and we'll get that set up. That is going to be great. So with your friend in mind, once again, would you care for any of the Pokemon toys? Okay, the Pokeball Blaster. I thought when you selected the deluxe Batman and Robin set, I thought we might be getting a deluxe Pokemon toy as well. Perfect. This, I dare say, will be quite the birthday for your friend. So, complete with Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise, I think this is going to be absolutely phenomenal to see the face of your friend the first time they open this up. So, what a wonderful purchase. Now, can I be so bold and tempt you with the Blastoise and Master Ball collection to go along with your Pokeball Blaster toy. I say that only because the obvious match with the Blastoise, but the Master Ball itself and the purple scheme of the Game Boy Color, the trifecta is really hard to pass down. You agree. Excellent. Okay. I am so glad. This is going to be just so enjoyable. Okay. Anything else? Perfect. I think you have made a wonderful choice. You are quite the enjoyable customer to take through these kind of things. Once again, please, please, please come back soon. And if you enjoyed your experience here today, I think going through your Batman the Animated Series kind of fixation will be absolutely a blast. So I'll get your name and number at the front desk, and I'll give you a call when we get all of those toys pulled, and we will set up an appointment to meet and take you through. I'll take you through the full selection. I think you're going to really enjoy that. All right, so I will take your collection to the front, and we will get you on your way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, let's head that way.